Shalom. Giving all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahushai, Bahashum, Arachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. As always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the Orphan elect, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. I'm not going to make this a long lesson, but I thought it was necessary, to hit the record button. As I came across this article from Daily Mail, and this is reporting on a lot of the American tourists that got trapped in this cartel situation. All right, where the leader of the Jalisco cartel, he was murdered, and now they're saying that it's possible that there was some infiltration, where some CIA ops were working, and they was able to carry out the mission and taking the dude out, and now it's causing nothing but chaos all throughout the country. So a lot of people are terrified, and especially the American tourists, that were just out there to breathe and relax and have a little vacation and be careless, which that's the whole overall theme of Babylon. When you read Isaiah the 47th chapter, it talks about how she would be careless, dwell careless, all right, and she would be given to a lot of pleasure. So Americans, especially those that got money, they're able to afford to go and kick their feet up and relax their hair, and chill and be careless. But they're not used to it getting real in the field. Like it says in Sirach the 11th chapter, around the 21st verse, there's a forgetfulness of prosperity in the day of affliction, and in the day of affliction, there's a forgetfulness of prosperity. And those Babylonians that were vacationing down in Mexico, they just learned that valuable lesson. All right, so these are accounts from people that are trapped, and they're contacting their loved ones and telling them that we might not make it back. We thought that we was going to be able to get away for some days and be able to relax and have have the time of our lives, only to get stuck in adversity. All right. So this is from the Daily Mail. It says an American couple on their first trip away from their 4-year-old son have told their family members where their wills are hidden after becoming trapped in Mexico. The unnamed individuals were on vacation in Puerto Vallarta when the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel was killed by the Mexican military on Sunday, prompting widespread violence across the region. I had to call my mom today and just tell her, look, here's where my will is. We just created this. I don't want you to panic, but I may need you to stay a couple of days extra with my son, the concerned father told. So his life is pretty much hanging in a balance because, shit just got real, and and now they're trapped up in it. All right. You would have never thought, you would have never guessed that it would just on a sudden just start popping off like that. It says, this is the first time we've ever been away from him. My wife was saying we'll never leave him again. And that's if y'all even have that chance, right? Authorities in Jalisco, Michoacan, and Guanajuato reported at least 14 people were killed Sunday, including 7 National Guard troops, as videos circulating on social media showed tourists walking on beaches with smoke rising in the distance. So they were just chilling up on the beach, and then next thing you know, they seeing smoke going up. The U.S. State Department has issued a shelter-in-place order due to ongoing security operations and related road blockages and criminal activity. Yeah, now they're going on shutdown. And when state locked a town or a city down, you can't travel. So that means that you're basically stuck. And I thought of course, back in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Now, the primary focus of these prophecies is here in America, Babylon, but these events are happening, across the world. 2nd Esdras 15. Yeah, 2nd Esdras 15 and 16 and 17, because this is what's happening, right? It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courts of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." And you know that a lot of people are going to be afraid, because it says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." And buildings are on fire, vehicles are being hijacked. They're stopping taxi cab drivers and killing them and taking their vehicles. It's going down, man. So with that level of chaos, they got to lock it down. So that means that there's a no travel advisory, shelter in place, no travel. So wherever you lock down at, there's no food shipments coming in. So that means that you're going to be limited on food supply. So some of them people that were down there in that resort or in them hotels, eating, all the, eating brunch or whatever they eating, they got access to, they're now limited on the food. And we know Americans, they're used to, stuff in their face. They're used to, decadence, luxury. So this is very uncomfortable now. It says that encompasses vacation hotspots like Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum. But tourists trapped at resorts in those cities have warned that the hotels are down to the last bit of food, with one guest claiming they are just sort of surviving off granola bars. It's real, man. Guests reported that hotel kitchens and nearby restaurants are shut down. So now you're limited on food. You know what I'm saying? You can't go anywhere. Hey, that's now you in adversity, right? It says, according to CNN, leaving many worried about where they would get meals in the coming days. So these people, they had no idea. And let me get Amos 3. This is what the Lord is doing. And this is why we've been saying, to you brothers and you sisters, hey, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because the Lord's finna make it uncomfortable for everybody across the board. Because we in that time, we're coming into that evil time, man. All right, we're in the time of Jacob's trouble, and the northern kingdom is already going through it. All right? And these are just the beginning of sorrows, by the way. It's all just beginning. Amos 3 and 6 says, "Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it?" All right? And that's why the prophets are set up to, forward that message to our people. Like it said in Jeremiah 28, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, both prophesy against many countries and great kingdoms, of war, evil, and pestilence." All right? So that's what the message ultimately is going to be. Okay? And most people ain't going to want to hear it. They're going to move on and go after their own heart's desire, their own covetousness. They're going to be scoffers, walking after their own lusts, telling the prophets to, like it says in Isaiah 30, don't prophesy unto us right things, prophesy unto us smooth things and deceit, because they don't want to hear the truth. They want their ears tickled. They want to be motivated. They want to hear nothing but positivity and good. They don't want to hear the bitter that comes with it. All right, the lamentations, the mournings, and the woes. All the prophets, they were in the true prophets were in the right spirit. You know, Ezra said, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of evils, the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of a great death. All right. So going back, I'm gonna read some more of this, and then we'll, I'm not gonna make this long. It says some vacationers who had early Sunday morning flights managed to get home, but others are now locked down at the airport after most domestic and international flights were canceled in both Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. All right. So they got snared, man. They got caught up in that trap. You know, and they can, some of them can very well get caught up in this and not make it back. And that's why you got to fear the Heavenly Father and understand, His will. There's a time and season for everything, but we definitely are now in the time of, fun and prosperity. And let me go to it. It's lucky I meant to go to Ecclesiastes 3, and then we'll go to Ecclesiastes 9. That's a lot. Ecclesiastes 3:1, it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And them Babylonians went down there to have a good time and laugh and dance or whatever they was gonna get into. Eat real good, chill by the beach. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sue. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. And we're clearly in the time of war because there's nothing but war all throughout the world. Wars and rumors of wars. It's a war zone in a lot of different places. Okay? So if you are discerning the times that, we're in the evil time and, you seeing war on the horizon, you seeing that the love of many is waxing cold, what spirit should you be in? But these Americans, they want to be comfortable. They want to be careless. I'm not going to no, I'm not going down to Cabo. I'm not going down to Jamaica. I'm not going down to Cancun. I'm not going to none of these areas. Because they can go down anywhere. Just discerning the time, man. The prudent foreseeth the evil and hideth themselves. Because we could discern the times, man. That is not, we're not in a good time. Okay? So these people are getting caught up. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 9:12. And it says, for man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time when it falleth suddenly upon them. And that's self-explanatory. Let me get Ecclesiastes 7:14. And it says, in the day of prosperity, be joyful, but in the day of adversity, consider. The Most High also have set the one over against the other. So there's going to be times when you're going to be doing good and you're going to be feeling good and you're going to be able to relax and, be comfortable. But then you also got to worry about, being tried in adversity, being placed in uncomfortable positions or situations. You know, staring death in the face. You know, them people being held hostage. Limited on food. You don't know if you're going to get back home. You know what I'm saying? There's gunmen everywhere. There's, you know, fires. You don't know who's who. So, yeah, man, it's getting turned up. You know, and the Lord said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. All right? So it's going to be, you know, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Because the earth has moved, these people on the earth, especially the wicked, they done moved the Most High to wrath, so the Lord's bringing them scourges down. And unfortunately for you northern tribes, yeah, you going through it just like in the days of old. All right, the Lord rose up them Assyrians, the rod of Assyria on the northern kingdom, and then the Lord eventually got Judah, you know, with the Babylonians. So, yeah, full circle. And now Jacob is going into that time of trouble. And the only ones that's going to make it out this time are the Lord's elect. Okay? And I'm going to end off with that. Jeremiah 30:6. And yeah, them people are terrified, especially them women. You can see footage of them panicking and screaming in the background. You know, that pride that these women have, it normally disappears when adversity finally catches up. That's why the scripture say in Isaiah 30:32 concerning you women, to rise up you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters, you careless women. Many days and years shall you be troubled. All right. Jeremiah 30:6, it says, ask you now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And that he that shall be saved out of it is the remnant, the elect. All right. The Lord's going to, you know, pass them through the fire spiritually. They're going to be tried in that fiery furnace of adversity, but they're going to come out a pure, polished product. All right, worthy to be received to the Lord. All right. But the rest of our people, they're going to be destroyed. Here in America, 2/3 are going to be cut off and die. So the adversity that we're seeing in Mexico and Venezuela and south of the border is definitely going to be here in the States. And the ice is just, you know, that's light ice. But it's going to beef up, you know, later down the line. All right, because it seemed to die down a bit, or at least we're not hearing about it, you know, with ICE, you know, doing their operations. You know, you had all the protests and everything going on up there in Minnesota. But hey, who knows what's next? Okay. So anyway, you know, hopefully this was edifying. I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And to the next lesson, Shalom.